Buy now, pay later. Over $500 billion is owed by companies. Industry groups say the actual quantity is harder to track than overall credit card debt, since these companies are not compelled to publish their lending practices. Due to buy now, pay later, this is a worrying amount of money. Predictable installment plans should pay off loans in 8 weeks. However, fresh research and company confessions confirm what you already knew. Klarna accounts aren't paid off. Most of the largest buy now, pay later companies use it as a new strategy to stretch their money further each month. Companies are only 10 years old, but they've scaled quickly thanks to generous investor funding, a tech bro attitude toward regulations, and a service that appealed to people who didn't want to go through a formal credit application process because they weren't giving out loans. They let customers to pay for their item in smaller payments over a predetermined time period without interest if done correctly. Now, after granting quick, easy not loans to everyone who could download an app, the businesses are shocking Pikachu by not collecting their debt. Consumer debt defaults are rising worldwide, but BNPL's risks could make this worse than customers not being able to split their Costco hot dog into 4 easy installments. Paying is addictive. Why? Chris Brown tickets are paid for via Klarna. No one's opinion matters. Financial stress requires time and preparedness. I want top consumer and fan pay. Whatever it is about paying for, I can never resist. Buy now, pay later reduces my guilt. Services, like credit cards, let you buy now and pay it off later. Offer interest-free periods if you pay on time, and are used by companies that want to sell you stuff because they make it easier to spend money you don't have. Both financing choices offer hefty interest rates and costs if you don't pay on time, and buy now, pay later. Companies conceal these hazards. Delinquent, unsecured consumer debt is dangerous and has a high interest rate. One major difference between financial instruments that appear comparable is sometimes overlooked. Even with interest-free purchase periods, banks make 4 times more on credit card lending than mortgages, commercial lending, and traditional personal loans. Buy now, pay later, according to Fed data. However, companies have struggled to profit. Most of them have suffered huge losses. Public financials show that a corporation lost over $500 million last year, an improvement from the year before. Afterpay, Klarna, PayPal, and PayInfo are private corporations that don't have to reveal their financials, or they were acquired by other companies who blend in their losses with earnings from other aspects of the business, making data tougher to access. Klarna raised a lot of funding from SoftBank to scale its business. The company claimed to have some profitable quarters due to their creative use of AI to cut customer support expenses. But that was mostly due to low borrowing costs, a generous interpretation of how reliably customers would repay their installments, and ignoring everything else that it takes to run the business. Company profit for the quarter was a nearly $100 million loan. $1 million loss, double from last year in the golden age of buy now, pay later. The industry leader delayed its IPO since it's unclear if it's feasible. These losses are occurring across the industry, even though these companies typically take a larger cut of merchant sales and charge higher effective interest rates on delinquencies, because even if you don't use these services, you pay for them. Thus, it's time to grasp how money works and how a predatory corporation exploiting hundreds of millions of customers worldwide can't produce money. Mainstream credit card processors like Square, Stripe, Shopify, and PayPal charge merchants 1.5 to 3.5% on sales to take credit card payments, according to NerdWallet and the company's information portals. Pay later companies have started charging as much as 8% on sales to average retailers, according to Merchant Cost Consulting. Larger companies like Walmart, Amazon, and DoorDash can negotiate these rates individually, but those agreements are rare. Many retailers' profit margin after sales costs is 8%. So, paying that much to a buy now, pay later firm is unsustainable. Buy now, pay later firms' merchant agreements restrict retailers from passing on these fees to customers, so they must either earn no profit on Klarna sales or raise prices for everyone to meet this new expense. The third approach is to eliminate these payment choices. 3 simple factors prevent firms from doing that. First, buy now, pay later. People are ideal customers. Industry research shows that they are younger than traditional credit card users, spend more impulsively, and can divide payments, giving them purchasing power. Harvard Business Review showed that buy now, pay later programs increased purchase intent by 17 to 26%. In addition, their average purchase was 10% larger than with normal payment methods, leading to a 30% increase in discretionary spending. While a 30% increase in spending on non-essentials is not something the average household can afford right now, especially among the groups attracted to BNPL, credit cards are a better value proposition for responsible users. They offer better rewards, customizable terms, and credit building. Since they are debt buy now, pay later, they are more rigorously controlled. Companies have avoided that official designation, so they are less rigorously regulated and can provide credit to those who would otherwise suffer. Credit cards can also help people spend money they don't have on unnecessary purchases, but there are more responsible lending standards. BNP applications don't appear on credit reports, thus, self-destructive users can pull off some spectacular financial manipulations. People can get a credit card and apply for BNPL loans at the same time without informing each lender, then use their credit card to make BNPL payments, extending the time between purchase and needing money by more than 4 months. Maybe there's a finance bro justification about the time value of money, but individuals are either financially irresponsible or have no other choice. The cost of living exceeds most incomes. This will catch up to us, but for now, individuals are delaying the inevitable with financial gymnastics like buy now, pay later. According to a LendingTree report, groceries are one of the fastest growing purchase markets for these services. It's tempting to label Afterpay users as reckless consumers, and there are irresponsible ones. But a lot of this excess spending is just folks who couldn't afford to keep up. Even in 2023, more than half of BNPL customers took out these loans because they could only afford it, according to a Fed survey. People spending money they shouldn't or couldn't spend is a huge incentive for firms to accept these corporations' large commissions. Is this regulated? What are you doing here, guys? Jesus Christ, sort of. The spread is huge. 50% commission on our service markup. Anyway, if that wasn't enough, these firms collect a lot of client data and sell brand partners bargains and special time, offers straight to consumers at personalized times. Afterpay started up almost completely as a sales platform, hosting events like Afterpay Day where partner businesses could sell online. Since the corporations are now payment providers, this has become less of a focus, but they still use it to legitimize their operation as a sales engine. Klarna was previously valued at over $45 billion, and investors didn't care about profitability issues because they could make a lot of money if they become a new generation's payment option. No such thing has happened. These firms mostly raised money. Server hosting salaries and cool offices with ping-pong tables fuel R&D. I hope you realize the issue now. People weren't lent money from company investors. Customer loans came from institutional lenders. Now this is common. All banking relies on it, but skilled middlemen should be able to extract more from this group than they pay back. The issue is, these services lend poorly. Being one of the few companies to divulge their financials, Klarna is being targeted again. In the first quarter, they earned $182 million in interest from late payers who paid penalties. In exchange, they paid $130 million in financing charges, which sounds like they should have gained more than $50 million in gross profit from lending. But late BNPL loan debtors aren't the best borrowers. Unrecoverable loans cost the corporation another $136 million. They lost $85 million in one quarter if they generously interpret consumer losses. Credit cards aren't ideal, but banks are more selective about lending. Banks can raise capital at lower interest rates from non-delinquent depositors and profit from them. Predatory enterprises, which are bad at being predatory for desperate consumers, have become an alternative to payday lenders, which have low lending standards. However, payday lenders charge outrageous interest rates to offset the risks, and some offer buy now, pay later. Companies can't do that since it would destroy their reputation as a fun hashtag alternative. Treat yourself and worry later. With such significant lending losses, BNPL companies are even more dependent on merchant fees, yet they are pushing back. Klarna made sweetheart arrangements with Walmart and DoorDash to be their exclusive provider at cheaper fees. This may help gain market share, but dominating an unfeasible market is meaningless. These corporations may increase margins if they survive, but that will cost everyone else. Investors will keep putting money at them. As Uber did for taxis, Airbnb for hotels, and Netflix for cable BNPL are still gaining market share. Eventually, these companies will need to make their service worse and take in more revenue to survive. For businesses, that will mean more fees for accommodating BNPL services. And for customers, it will likely mean more hidden ways to pay more than you wanted. Nobody wins here, but nobody wants to be the biggest loser if it all fails, which is usual with new business trends. A larger investment illness is behind purchase now, pay later. Watch this video to see why common wisdom is hard to profit from. Like and subscribe to learn more about money.